When you subtract, you're making a number smaller. So if I start with the amount you see here, which is 5 hundredths, 4 tenths, and 6 ones, and I want to take away 133, I want to, just like with my addition place value algorithm, go one place value at a time, and I start with my ones place. So I start with my 6 ones, and I want to take away 3 ones, and that leaves me with 3. Then I go to my 4 tens, and I take away 3. That leaves me with 1. Then I go to my 5 hundredths and I take away 1. That leaves me with 4. If I look at my algorithm, the way they're stacked, 6 minus 3 is 3, 4 minus 3 is 1, and 5 minus 1 is 4. Sometimes when you're subtracting, though, you don't have enough to do the algorithm without regrouping. So here I have the number 542, and I want to take away 386. So just like before, I'm going to start in my ones column. So I have 2 ones and I need to take 6 of them, but I don't have 6 ones. So I need to go to the next place value. I know that this 10 right here is the same thing as 10 ones. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having 4 tens, I'm going to cross out that 4. And I now have 3 tens because I'm going to take that 10 away. I traded it in for 10 ones. So instead of having just 2 ones, I now have 12 ones. And I write that right where that 2 was. Now I can take from my 12 ones, I can take away 6 and be left with 6. And I can see here that 12 minus 6 is 6. Now I go to my next place value. 3 tens, and I need to take away 8 tens, but I don't have 8 tens, so I go to the place value over, which is my hundreds. I know that 100 is the same thing as 10 tens. So if I was to line this up, you can see 10 tens is the same thing as 100. So I'm going to take away one of my hundreds, so that 500 is now going to become 4 hundredths, because I only have 4 left, because I'm making those into tens and moving them to my tens place value. So instead of having 3, I now have 13. Now that I have 13, I can take away 8. And then I'm left with 5. And if you look at my algorithm, 13 minus 8 would give me 5. Last, I move to my hundreds, do 4 minus 3, which would leave me with 1. Looking at this number, I have the number 1,243, and I want to take away 875. So just like before, I always want to start with my smallest place value, which is my ones. Now I don't have 5 ones to take away, so I'm going to go next door to my tens, and I know that this 10 is the same thing as 10 ones. So I'm going to get rid of this 10 and replace it with 10 ones. On my algorithm, it looks like this. I cross out that 4 because I had 4 tens, now I have 3. And then those 3 ones is now 13 ones because I added 10 more. Now I can take away my 5. And I'm left with 8. Now I can go to my tens place. I only have 3 tens left now, and I need to take away 7, which I can't do because I don't have enough. So I'm going to go to my hundreds and take that 100 away and replace it with 10 tens. On my algorithm, it looks like this. I took away one of my hundreds, so now I only have 1, and instead of 3 tens, I now have 13 because I brought 10 more over. Now I can take away 7. And that leaves me with 6 tens. Then I'm going to go to my hundreds. 100, I need to take away 8, which I can't do, so I'm going to go to my thousands place. And I'm going to take this 1,000 and instead trade it in for 10 hundreds because it's the same thing. So get rid of that 1,000 and grab 10 hundredths instead. So I have no more thousands, that becomes a 0, and instead of just 100, I now have 11 because I added 10 over. So I'm going to put another 1 next to it. Now I can take away 8. 11 minus 8, and I'm left with 300. So I get an answer of 368. Here I have 701. I have nothing in my tens place, just my hundreds and my ones. And I want to take away the number 534. So just like before, I'm going to start with my ones place value, that 1 minus the 4. But I don't have 4 ones. Now if I went here to my hundreds, I'd have to get 100 ones in order to move them over there, which is going to make the problem more difficult. What I really want is only 10 ones, but I can't go to my tens place. So I'm going to start by going to my hundreds, but instead of asking for ones, I'm going to say that I want to take 10 tens instead. So I take away that 100, so now I only have 6 hundreds, and in return, I'm going to trade it in for 10 tens. So that 0 now becomes a 10. Now it still doesn't help move my ones place, so now I can take one of my tens, so now I only have 9, and trade it in for 10 ones. So instead of just 1 1, I now have 11. Now I can go through and subtract. 11 minus 4 is 7, 9 minus 3 is 6, and 6 minus 5 is 1. If we look at this number, I have 1,004. So I have nothing in my tens place, and I have nothing in my hundreds place. And I want to subtract the number 687. So I'm going to start with my ones place value, the 4 minus 7, which I can't do. Again, I don't want to trade in this 1,000 for ones because then I need 1,000 ones, which is going to make that way too big. So I've got to think about what can I trade this 1,000 in for? Well, my next place value over from the 1,000 would be the hundreds, so I need to get some hundreds. So I'm going to take this 1,000 and I'm going to trade it in for 10 hundreds. So on my algorithm, if you look at the numbers, it means I cross out that 1 and make it a 0 because I now have 10 hundreds. That still didn't help move my ones place, but I'm getting closer because now I can trade in this 100 for 10 tens. So instead of having 10 hundreds, I now only have 9 because I took 1 to give it to my tens place, and I now have 10 tens. That still doesn't help me with my ones, so I have to keep going. But I'm going to take away one of my tens and trade that in for 10 ones. So instead of having 10 tens, I now only have 9. And instead of just having 4, I added 10 to it, I now have 14 ones. Now I have enough in each place value to subtract. 14 ones minus the 7 would leave me 7. 9 tens minus 8 would give me 1. And then 9 hundredths minus 6 would give me 3 for an answer of 317.